Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel. It is now June, and that means it is time for 30 days of sketches. This one was created by Ginger Bush. It does have 3 photos, big old embellishments up here, lots of horizontal lines. I am going to use 3 photos. I'm not cutting them down to 4x4, and I'm not doing hexagons, but I'll definitely use the sketch. So let's see what I can do. Alright guys, so I'm starting out by taking my 3 photos and I'm going to place them down on kind of the lower portion of the page. Not exactly the lower half, but the lower portion. So I'm going to go ahead and run out of tape in my ATG. I pull out my second ATG because that's why I have 2. I actually have 3, but anyway. And that one, fun fact, was out of tape too. So I filled them up and then I got to working. All right, so I've got the striped paper, and what that is going to do is represent the horizontal arrows that are going across the layout, or the sketch rather, right? So that is to kind of be that element. And then I'm going to put some washi tape where the photos and the paper join. I just like that. Especially when my photos aren't all exactly the same size. And as much as papers that aren't all the same size, where 12 by 12 isn't 12 by 12, isn't 12 by 12, it grinds my gears even more that the photos aren't all 4 by 6, especially when you get them printed and they're all in the same batch, right? Like that, I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? You got to be kidding me right now. So anyway, that is neither here nor there. It's just one of those things that makes me shake my head. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so like I said in the intro, I wasn't going to do the hexagons. Hexagons really aren't my thing. I do love a good hexagon stencil in the background, but for the most part, hexagons aren't my favorite shape to work with, right? I would much rather work with circles. Actually, I'd much rather work with hearts and stars if we are being completely honest with each other here. So that is what I am feeling right now. And I am doing my voiceover in a different room. I wasn't in the scrapbook room because Christopher fell asleep in there. We have a big love sack in there, which is like a big old bean bag. And I went to my bedroom and somebody's mowing their lawn out somewhere behind us. So I am in the other room where all of the albums are. It's kind of a storage room because that's where Lana and Alex's stuff is. So yeah. But anyway, I am sitting here looking at the scrapbooks, and there are a lot of albums that I don't have labeled, and they have book plates. Like they have a place to be labeled, and I don't have them. So I need to get on that project. How about you guys? What is a scrappy project that you know you need to get on, but you just haven't? What is that project that is just kind of looming, right? I think it's labeling. Labeling. Yikes. Okay. So besides that, I am going to mess around with a bunch of different elements here. I want it to have something large up at the top, and then also something smaller at the bottom, because there is large embellishment and title up at the top, and then smaller down here on the bottom. I do eventually come up with something. This is not going to be the final iteration of the layout. I mess with this a lot, you guys. And I'm leaving it all in there just to show you what I was thinking, how I was coming at this, like what what exactly was going on there. I even got layouts and page protectors that, oh, that's why. They're old photos of me when I was a kid. And, goodness, excuse me. The photo that I have, the albums that I have for that, it's a Creative Memories album. Whew, sorry about that. Had to go have a bit of a coughing fit. Okay, so like I was saying, I have layouts and page protectors on a shelf next to other albums. And that is because they are in regular page protectors, and my like album from when I was a kid is in a Creative Memories album, which is strap hinge. And I have not made the page protector holes bigger. So I guess I got two projects going on in here that need to happen. Labeling and getting those layouts actually in the album. So yeah, anyway, back to this. Like I said, I am messing around a lot with this. I'm trying to have a repeated shape, which is a circular shape, because of the hexagons repeating in the sketch. So I decide, you know what? I'm going to bring this cluster that I had on top of my photos down here to the bottom. And this serves a couple of purposes. One, I think it balances better with the photos. Just visually, I think it balances better. There is a big expanse of photograph right there that is just, it's just the bar top, right? And then there was also like a little piece of trash on in the photo right there that I am covering up. So it's twofold. Now, this was a Petite Sirah heritage wine tasting, and let me tell you, it was awesome. This was the one time I went to a wine tasting by myself. I love me a good Petite Sirah. It was funny because we were talking about my favorite tasting has been the vertical tasting from Kincannon with Petite Sirah, and then they had, like, almost 2 days later, we got the invitation for it. I was like, we gotta go. So, you know, booked the reservation and did that, and then Christopher ended up, he was working, he wasn't getting home in time. He was out of town, I think, and I went by myself. And these are the photos that I had taken and sent to him while I was there. So it was the tasting card, the chocolate covered almonds, which these are the best chocolate covered almonds we've ever had in our lives, and then the tastings. And if you've ever heard me talk about the test tube tastings, that is that. And there is a glare from the overhead light, but they are in little wood boards with the test tubes in it that's got your tasting, and you pour it into your glass as you're ready to go. So now I'm trying to figure out how to get a little bit more on here. And I think I've almost done the opposite, where I have the larger embellishment and decoration on the bottom of the layout and the smaller amount on the top. But that's fine. I was actually thinking about doing a large title with like 2.5 inch big fat letters that say wines or Syrah or something across the top of the layout. But ultimately I decided that I wasn't going to put a title on this one. I do have a selfie that I took of myself that I'm going to do as a companion page to this, where I'm going to tell the story that I just told you, where it was, you know, I love me some Petite Sirah, and the opportunity arose, and Christopher did not get back in time. I can't remember if it was his flight was delayed. I think his flight was delayed. So, oh goodness, that came out of nowhere. Goodness, I don't know what has come over me, but this coughing fit is somewhat of annoying. It's crazy because my allergies are kicking. It is June, And I feel like my spring allergies are in full bloom right now because summer, I'm told, doesn't really start here until the 4th of July. And I think that's when it started last year too. So I guess it's true. Washington's summers don't really start until the 4th of July. But it was a great summer last year. I kept waiting for it to get hot, but it never really got hot. Which I guess is kind of a blessing and a curse. So yeah, if anybody ever asks me, do you miss living in Maryland? It's like, yeah, I miss the food. And they're like, what? I'm like, I miss the food. I miss Atlantic Ocean seafood. I miss Maryland crabs. I miss Maryland crab cakes. I miss pit beef. Yeah, that's the stuff. Nobody knows what pit beef is, but oh my goodness, I love me some pit beef. It's tri-tip out here. I never even heard of tri-tip until we moved out here to the left coast. And then they say, what do you miss about California? And I'm like, I miss the weather. That's what I miss about California. I miss the weather. It's not the rain so much that bothers me here. That doesn't bother me. It's the chill, right? Like, I've turned into a sissy and I want to be warm. I think I've reached that old lady stage where I just want to be warm. So anyway, that is going to do it for this layout. Be sure that you check out the playlist. Hopefully I'll be able to get my layout updated and into the playlist. Sometimes playlists and I just don't get along and I've got to like join the playlist in one device and upload on another. It's a whole situation, you guys. But anyway, that is going to do it for this layout. It is 30 days of sketches. I'm not sure if I'm going to do all 30 days yet. I have to decide. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video.